Hi guys, it's Artem here with another episode of Daniel's Ventures podcast. This time I have a pleasure of talking to Carol from Leadfeeder about B2B sales and what a tool like Leadfeeder can do for you. Hi Carol.
Hi everyone. I guess I'll give a short introduction of myself. I currently oversee agency partnerships at Leadfeeder. I work with amazing, smart people like Artem here on a daily
Thank you.
basis. But I've been with Leadfeeder for close to 4 years now. So I've seen us just grow as a product and the company. I've seen all the different sales strategies and marketing strategies out there from talking to probably over 1,000 customers personally myself by now.
Wow.
And in my previous life, I was in B2B marketing and did lead generation for media and tech companies for over 10 years.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Very interesting. So, what does Leadfeeder do, and why somebody who's interested in growing, their business, especially their B2B business, obviously, why would somebody care?
In a nutshell, Leadfeeder is a sales intelligence tool, okay? And why we call this a sales intelligence tool is because we convert marketing data into easy to use, actionable insights for sales teams. I mean, if you think about it, marketing has all this information, let's say, for example, in Google Analytics, right? We all know
Yeah,
Google
yeah, yeah.
Analytics. But a lot of times the data is siloed and it's a wealth of data that sales teams can use. Like, for example, through Leadfeeder's tool, we can show you anonymous website visitors. So people who visit your site and they don't fill out a form, but they might be
Yeah.
checking your pricing page, your product page, and then they leave and go to a competitor's site, and then your competitors get them, right? And
Mm.
then that's it. You never see them anymore because they never fill out a form. So this allows sales teams to be proactive with who they reach out to, be more targeted. And then even with current deals you're working on, you want to know if they come back to your site. You want to know what they're browsing so that you can be more prepared for your conversations.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's something that I install on my website, right? If we get to the nitty gritty, so using something like Google Tag Manager, I install your tag. There are many other tools similar, not in the sense that B2B lead generation tools, but I guess there are many as well. But like Google Analytics, you just place a tag using Google Tag Manager, boom, the data starts flowing into your system. I log in and I see what do I see?
Yeah, so exactly. You just install a little script just like as you would Google Analytics or
Yeah,
Google Tag Manager, or if you use like WordPress or Squarespace or any of that, there's always like a plugin to like
there is
just
always a
copy paste.
place to shove
Just
that code there. Yeah,
just copy paste, super
yeah,
simple.
yeah,
It takes 2 minutes. And then once you log into Leadfeeder, you see a dashboard of companies who are visited. So we show you
yeah,
the company name, the location of the visitor, which is very important because if
yeah.
if a company has offices like globally, you know to target a certain office.
Mm-hmm,
Then you show the visit behavior. You see the visit behavior. You'll see the pages they view, how they
mm-hmm.
found you. Did they come from a specific campaign? Did they come from your LinkedIn post, a partner site, a
Yeah.
paid ad, anything? And then we also have a complementary database of email contacts for people who work
Mm-hmm.
at that company. So you can filter down to like who your ideal customer profile is, who your target audience is, and reach out to the key decision makers at that company. And then we also have an integration with CRM systems so that you
Mm-hmm.
can see if there's any active open deals if you're currently working on a deal. And if not, you can always have it automatically created and synced into your CRM so that your sales team will always have fresh, new, warm leads coming in.
Yeah. So basically, um, if I understand correctly, once person visits the website, you analyze his IP address and some other information. You pull it from the database. You identify it. Obviously, if I'm using my personal mobile device and I'm a part of a company, I will not be registered on the system, right? So there are some leads that will not be able to, I will not basically see them. Only certain
Yep.
visits will generate data.
Yeah, to clarify that, that's why we say we are a B2B
Yeah.
company, because it's pretty much impossible to identify like people on internet service providers if you're working
Yeah.
from home in your private network or your mobile
Yes.
device. But however, you know,
Okay, there is a but.
yes, there is, and it's a good but.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
um,
please go ahead.
so I know, with everything that's been going on, people have been working from home more,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um,
obviously.
yeah, but more and more companies are, ensuring like privacy and things like that. So like so employees are logging through VPNs,
Yeah.
virtual private network, and so through the VPNs we can identify people working from home as long as you're logged in, right? So that's
Yeah.
one. Secondly, we have an integration with Mailchimp
Oh,
where if
okay.
you happen to use Mailchimp and the person is on your email list and they've clicked on your, email, they get cookied and we can actually track them going forward so that and tell you exactly who it is. So even if they're on their mobile device working from like a coffee shop, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We can show you who it is and from what company they're from.
Okay. As long as I use a Mailchimp integration, right?
Yeah, and of course we're going to be working on more integrations going forward, but Mailchimp is the one we have now.
Oh, that's cool. Obviously, there is Active Campaign and
Yeah,
many, many,
exactly.
many, many others. Obviously, like
Yeah.
there's like way too many, maybe. So, yeah, but of course, if they use VPNs from the technical perspective, they look as if they're sitting in the office. So
Yes.
that way, you can identify them and so forth. So that's really good, obviously. But you are absolutely correct. Now people work more and more from home, and I think still big companies especially they use
Yeah.
VPN. They're not going to let you use your mobile connection to access internal
Yeah.
databases and so forth. So really good, really good. So okay, I have the data. I log into the dashboard and I see that the company X, that's selling widgets, it's
Yeah.
exactly, my target group, my potential customer. Should I just give it a call and say like, hey, I've seen you visited my website yesterday. What do you want? Can we sell you something? So how can you fit that knowledge, that additional, intelligence that you have into existing sales workflow? Because obviously it wouldn't look good if you just say like, hey, we're tracking you guys, we see this info, we'd like to sell you something. So how does that work?
So I'm gonna have to give a few different answers
Okay.
because it really depends on who your audience is and
Yeah.
also what market you work and what country you're from. Okay,
Okay.
so like there's like obviously strict GDPR laws, right, in like the
Obviously.
EU, and then in the US it's a little bit more relaxed, right? So
Yes.
that also dictates like what your follow up strategy is gonna be like.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say for the recommended way, in my opinion, is to not just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, we're tracking you," right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
But it
obviously,
works,
just to be sure, you cannot track and you will not track individuals. You just see
right?
that a company is interested and somebody from the company came. So obviously, you don't in
Yeah,
any way violate any kind of privacy protection laws and so forth. You just say
correct.
that a company visited your website. We don't know who, but here's
We
the
don't know who.
register of contacts we have.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody from this contacts, but you will never say like, hey, Peter is really interested in your pricing.
yeah. You would never know unless they've ever self identified before, like registering for your like Mailchimp
Oh yeah,
newsletter, or they
yeah,
fill out a form. Exactly. In that case, it's okay because they already had opted in.
yes.
Um, however, so I would say one approach is to use a database like LinkedIn and look up a few key stakeholders that you want to build relationships with. Okay. See what they're posting and start engaging because you can actually follow people without being connected with them. And on your homepage on LinkedIn now, you can say, okay, they comment on this or they posted this article. So start building relationship, read their articles and say something meaningful, right? And then once you do that, then you send a connection request and I would say 90% of the time they're going to accept it. And then from there, you can start the open dialogue, right?
Mm,
But don't try to sell too fast. That's, I would say, but it really depends what your sales cycle is and your product. Because in other
obviously,
times,
yeah.
picking up the phone or emailing them and saying, hey, we noticed that people from your company are interested in a solution of ours, right? They're on our website, and we just want to make sure that you have all the information you need because you would be one of the decision makers. Do you have 5 minutes? Like that has worked for some people. It really, really depends, you know.
I bet it would
Um,
work better in US compared to EU because the
exactly.
question would be like, hey, would you get the data from, like how do you know and so forth.
Yeah, well, because the way some people get around it is because these days, people are always filling out forms, like they're downloading
Yeah,
ebooks, signing for webinars, so they don't even know. Like like you almost feel like everyone has your information because you just give it out anyway. So
yeah.
it's not like a little. It doesn't seem weird when you say that. Um, so that's another approach. Or there's you could do retargeting. So like the marketing team can retarget these companies. Like for example, you can download a list of these companies visiting your site that you
Mm-hmm.
know are warm leads, then like import it into like LinkedIn under like audience list, and then
Mm-hmm.
retarget them with relevant content, because you know what they're interested in by the pages they're viewing. So push more content towards them, get them engaged, and maybe it'll help. So that if you keep staying front and center, then either they might eventually fill out form, or they'll respond to your sales team because now like they're warmed up a bit more.
Yeah, so basically, I guess depending obviously on the company, on the sales cycle,
Yeah,
sometimes not reaching out during the same day could be a lost lead. Maybe they're
yeah,
making decisions very quickly, but
yeah,
I guess something that would work for everybody is just try to build organic connections to the companies that are interested in you by either promoting your content to them in
yeah,
a more passive way, not actively just sending private messages, hey, you
yeah,
probably like this because you visited our blog, but just like using for retargeting and so forth, trying to build organic connections.
yeah,
And maybe obviously since there is integration with the CRM, obviously I guess it's a huge help also if you have a lot of leads and you want to see when somebody activates. So if I have
exactly.
a lead with a company, XYZ, when that company representative visits my website, I want to see it in my deal because maybe, hey, they had a board meeting maybe and they're looking at our offering and they're seeing,
Yeah,
what we got. Maybe it's good time to reach out and say like, hey, have you, reached a decision? Do you need additional info and so forth?
yeah. You can even like exactly. I've seen people reactivate lost deals. They close the deals
Okay.
lost, right?
Yeah.
But then a year later, wow, the company popped up and said, let's restart the conversation. And they got to win the deal. Like things change all the time. And so because the deal was lost once doesn't mean you can't win it later on. Or maybe they did go to a competitor and they were unhappy.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
they're looking for another solution, right? So
Yeah, that's
happens all the
what
time.
came to my mind. Maybe the deal kind of broke off, maybe they weren't able to come into our understanding, even though they chose another vendor. But what I'm hearing pretty much is that still, you provide the data and it sounds like a very useful data, but it still has to be somehow integrated in a way that it makes sense. So obviously, because every company is different, working with a huge company is very different compared.
Yep.
So if for example, if I'm a sales consultant and I'm working just for myself, alone, it will be very different. What I actually liked about your offering initially when I, saw it, I like that you have a free account, you have a free trial, and then the pricing, it's not very bad to be honest, because there are many enterprise solutions that do something similar that have a way bigger price. I like that it kind of feels like you're not only targeting huge companies, so you're also working with the smaller business as well.
Yeah. So the big enterprise solutions you talk about, they're great products, right?
Yeah,
But
obviously.
they offer a lot, right? And then
Yeah.
like this website visitor identification part of it is just a small subset, right?
Yeah.
And so with us, we want to be flexible. So we target both small SMBs and also enterprise companies because we have so many integrations that plug and play into your existing workflow.
Mm-hmm.
We have native integrations with Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive,
Yeah.
Zoho, Dynamics, right? And then we have a Zapier integration
Yeah.
that opens up the door to like 2,000 other applications right there. So that
Yeah.
was our goal. So that's why it's so affordable because we focus on one thing only, and then we let you decide what. We even have HubSpot users who use Leafeeder, even though HubSpot does offer something similar, but they use us because we just have our data quality is there. They realize that. Sorry, I'm sitting outside. There's frogs, and they're like making noise
It's
right now.
it's no, it's actually. I was just wondering, do you have frogs in your backyard? And it's actually pretty lovely. It's almost like a sound effect, that you turn on just, to set the stage. It's not bothering at all. It's actually pretty fun. Uh, but what I actually liked is that, you know, many tools, for example, like HubSpot is known for their free CRM,
Yeah,
and then Leadfeeder has also free offering, for just companies just starting out, testing, the waters, seeing what it offers. And if you connect also Zapier, which is also free, so I think you can do a lot nowadays, and that's what I'm actually, very excited because nowadays you can have a lot of functionality absolutely for free, and then once you grow, you can grow with those
Of course.
tools, or you can at least test it and compare a bit. And I like the free HubSpot, Zapier, and Leadfeeder combination. With already those three tools, you can do a lot. You can have a CRM system, you can have a lead generation system. With Zapier, you can do a lot of automation. So if somebody comes on your website from a certain company, do this, send email, send SMS, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the free tool is a great starter for anyone, and we understand in business startup they have limited budgets.
Of course.
You know, but we hope that even if you close like one deal from Leadfeeder's data, it almost pays for the entire year, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it'll be a no-brainer to upgrade anyway. But
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure, for sure. But of course, in the beginning, especially,
of
you
course.
want to see how it feels, how it works.
Uh-huh.
Does it look, does it provide actually data? Because when I actually was teaching in Estonia, and we talked about lead generation and B2B, they were like, no, I bet Leadfeeder doesn't have any information about Estonian companies. No, and I'm like, well, just take a trial, see, what works.
Yes.
And even if you get like one lead, one really good lead, it's most likely already worth using Leadfeeder, because
Exactly.
it just makes a lot of sense. And I'm not trying to, sell the tool to everybody listening. I use it myself, and I find it that many times, we actually closed ourselves a few deals with the government agencies, because you identify cities and government agencies, and those deals could be really huge,
They're
really
usually
huge.
big contracts, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have them filling out the forms, but already just knowing that this company or this government agency is looking into something, you can actually start googling procurements, like, hey, do they have any procurements going on? And then you see and you're like, okay, good, I can actually apply here because they already have interest in me.
Yeah, and you're right. Like they don't usually fill out a form. A lot of the companies, because they're still so early in the research stage, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they know that they fill out a form, they're gonna be like
Yes.
harassed. Like a salesperson's gonna call them right away. So
Yeah.
it's good to catch them early because you'll be ahead of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually surprised by the amount of data you're able to collect, and I think you have integration with the other system that gathers contact info, so you can actually see it. In the Leadfeeder, you can see some information that you already guys have on a company. So, like, if you're searching for marketing director, you can see if Leadfeeder already has it, so you can maybe directly send him a link or see his LinkedIn profile and so forth. Yeah. So, could you show us something? That'd be really cool, because
Absolutely.
many times you just hear people talking, and I really, since I do everything myself as well, I really love technology. I'm actually always like, hey, show me how it works, kind of guy.
Yes. Once I realized. Let me just remove my bookmark. Not that I have anything weird in my bookmark.
Well,
Show bookmarks. Okay, so I'm gonna hide that, and let me just
no worries.
make sure
no
my
worries.
notifications are off. But I'm glad you asked, because this whole time I was talking, I'm like, I wish, let me just show you, because it's so.
I think it's much better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and especially because our tool is just so simple. The UI, I think it's very easy for anyone to use. Like, I showed my parents this, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." I mean, I think like Facebook is more complex than this.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty easy, but walk us through it. So you have a demo account that is connected to some company website, right? So you have
I mean, that's some company website, but it's a portion of our own website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So basically you have the code and you have it running, and once you log in, you actually see this kind of feed.
Yeah. Yes,
So
exactly.
Can
So
you walk us through it?
the feed that I was talking about is, you see here on the left-hand panel, you'll see a list of companies who have visited in the time frame above. So you can toggle between different time periods. Let me just do default. So I'll switch it to the last 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
It'll update the list, and you can see on the right-hand side the total leads, average leads per day. Then you can see the visitors from top countries, the top industries visiting. So you get a quick summary highlight, right? And then, like I said, you'll see the location of the visitor. So like Leadfeeder up top, we're an entirely remote company, and we do have some offices, right, in certain countries. But in this case, we know this visitor is from our headquarters in Helsinki. But sometimes you might see if it's my colleague from Chicago, Illinois, you will see that there.
But if I'm not interested in seeing my own employees, I can hide it, right? I can just add
Oh,
it to like a blacklist, so I can say like, hey, hide this company. This is me, basically. This is
yes,
our company.
exactly. You can click the hide button here, and it'll disappear from the list. And they won't show up anymore and clog up your data. But we like to keep it so we can show that it works, right? We're even
Yeah,
identifying our
obviously.
own company. um, and so in this case, we know it's a visitor from Helsinki, and you get a quick snapshot of who the company is. We pull this data from like LinkedIn and Crunchbase, so you'll
Okay.
have a summary of the company, links to their social profiles, the headquarter phone numbers, even a business ID if this is relevant for the EU side.
Yeah. Because with EU, especially with Finland being very transparent, you can just type that into Google and get financial data just like
It's
that.
so crazy. There's no way you could do that in the U.S. businesses. I wish our sales team here in the U.S. wish we could obtain data so easily on private companies.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so for that, like I said, we have customers globally all over
of
the
course.
world.
Mm.
Yeah, and so we try to cater to all the differences for sure. Um, then below that is my favorite part personally. It's the visit details because now
Mm-hmm.
you get context around like what they're viewing and how they found your site, and you can see if the certain campaigns are working. Yeah, so you could see they came directly here. They spent a minute 33 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're reading these blogs. So let's pretend like this. We're looking at this from like a sales perspective. Like this visitor, in my opinion, wouldn't be a good prospect yet because they're just consuming our blogs. They haven't
Yeah.
gone to our product page or our pricing page yet. Um, but we do allow you to create what we call feeds so that you can narrow down your attentions on the warmest leads, right? Because
Yeah.
as a reminder, like I can't go through 1,000 companies to see
Yeah,
who's a
of
good
course.
fit, right? So we let you do this automatically. So let's just create a custom feed here. And I'm going to say, let's say, so because I focus on the US and Canada market. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
do US and Canada, and I'm going to say pricing page because that would say a lot if they visit that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, I'm going to add a filter for based off page URL. I'm going to say pricing. I'm going to search for the pricing. You know what? How to contains the word pricing.
Yeah.
Like that. Because if we have multiple pages, it's
Yeah.
better just do the word contains. And then I'm going to say they are from United States and then Canada. So as you can see, you can like play around with we have so many different filters. You can even do it by acquisition type. They must have come from a certain
Yeah.
source or
Yeah, for
something.
example, like Google search, right? Or something
Yeah,
similar. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
or Google Ads or anything like that. And then from here you can set up automations and say like, okay, I want to make sure that I get a daily or weekly report of all those visitors who hit the pricing page from US and Canada,
Yeah.
or push into a Slack channel. We actually live and breathe out of Slack, so like we have a Slack channel that the leads get pushed to. So that makes it, like I said, we're all about integrating to your workflow.
Of course, of course. No,
And then there's
I was just smiling because I left Slack for that same reason, because it's just a huge chaos and you can't do anything. It's just notifications after notifications. But yeah,
yeah.
for some companies it works really well and it's really good, and everything seems to be integrated into Slack nowadays.
I know this. It could be tons of notifications, but if you really customize it to like what's important, I think it works really well.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do without Slack.
Yeah, it's a great tool, I must admit. It's really good.
Yeah. And then you can set up automations where you could send to pipe like your CRM system. So you could say, okay, if someone hits our pricing page, they're from this
Yeah.
market, assign it to this person as an owner, create a deal, put it in this pipeline, and create like an activity and say, create activity and set the due dates to whenever you want, and then get the subject right. You can apply it.
So
And then you can
basically,
save the. Uh-huh.
yeah, sorry. So basically, like I can create a task for my sales team or for myself when there is a really good, really
Yes.
warm lead, or I can start populating like a remarketing list slowly or something like that.
Exactly.
So I can
Yep.
have different feeds for different purposes.
Yep, you can create as many different feeds as possible. So you could create a feed per salesperson, per region, per marketing campaign, like whatever you want to measure.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So you save the feed, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see what I just created. So you could toggle between different feeds. So when you first log in, you see everything. And then
Yeah.
now we're going to see, okay, because this is a demo account, we actually filtered out some data, but let me just choose all time. And you'll start to see data. So, okay. So for example, this company, let's go down. Here it is. Look, you could see that they typed lead feeder pricing.
Yeah.
They came to our help page that had the word pricing in it.
Yeah.
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 And
cool.
they visited twice on February 10th and February 12th.
But they came through CPC, right?
The first time they came directly, so that means they heard of us somewhere else. And then they probably were interested. And then they're like, oh, we don't know what our price, the lead feeder price is. So in Google search, they typed it in directly instead of trying to, and then they got hit with one of our ads.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What's that green bar? That's always puzzling. The green bar and the lock icon. So green,
yeah. Good questions. Yeah, I skipped over that. So this is our internal quality meter bar where we'll show you the highest quality, but I would take it with a grain of salt because we only look at things like visits, page views, how many email contacts we have, like the quality of the data we have for them, right? But that doesn't tell like a whole picture. It just gives you a quick snapshot. Okay, these are the most engaged visitors, and we have the most data on them.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I trusted it a lot in the beginning, but then I realized it's just one of the signals. It's not the signal. So definitely, I don't even look at it as much anymore. It's maybe good in the beginning if you have really lots of data, you haven't filtered it. You might use it, just to see who engages with you more. But later on, I think it's other criteria that are a little bit more important.
Yeah, so the custom feeds, I would say, is what you should use to determine what's like a quality lead. But then once you look within a feed and you narrow it out, then you want to say, okay, well, from this narrow segment, these are the most active users and visitors. These are the highest quality based on the filters that you just set. So it does help, but not like from the get-go. Like, I think, yeah. So just use it, just use our custom feed. We give you flexibility.
Sounds good. And what about the lock icon?
That it's actually a key, and that signals when we were able to track keywords from your campaigns. So like lead gen. So if I
So it's basically CPC most likely, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we show you the keywords here that they were hit with, and then we show you the exact search query on the right hand side.
Okay.
So this company is looking how to see who has viewed my website, GoDaddy. So they obviously use GoDaddy, and then now we know that they want to, identify non-visitors. They also have here track IP address and website visitors.
Okay. That's cool. So basically, I can use those as an indicator that I have a little bit more info on those guys, because if I see the keyword that they use to come to my website, obviously I can get into their head a little bit more. So if, for example, I start, I could create a landing page, right? Like, hey, we have an awesome solution for GoDaddy customers, and now I can add them to a marketing list, and I can push it to them via like LinkedIn or something similar, so that they would most likely convert. And that is, I think, a non-threatening and kind of like still active way to target.
Speaking of landing pages, I was working with a client. Actually, it was an agency, wasn't it? So an agency, they were helping one of their clients, and they noticed that someone from, like, they were getting a lot of visitors from the construction industry for their clients. And their website currently didn't have any case studies or any content for that. And so they quickly like revamped their site to, better target.
That's pretty cool.
To make it more relevant. Yeah.
But does the keyword tracking work only with CPC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously Google unfortunately doesn't provide a lot of keyword data nowadays.
No, the only there's always a but. So like sometimes, so if they use Bing search engine, sometimes Bing makes that data available, the search query.
Yeah.
without having to pay for the ads.
Oh, that's cool. Well, obviously, Bing's market share is not that big, but yeah, it's good to have any kind of data. I think that's good.
It's not that big, but it's surprising it's still large. I still see it a lot because I think there's a lot of Microsoft companies out. It's like companies still using Microsoft products, and when they use Microsoft products, they probably are using Bing search engine
Yeah,
too. Like they're
and
all in the
some industries like we have a client who actually sells medical equipment to hospitals, and they are not allowed to change their browser and their
exactly.
settings.
Yep.
So it's Bing.
Yes. So there are actually still a lot of people
Yeah.
using Bing out there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we actually had great success with Bing ads as well. So it's you shouldn't never, disregard Bing, but it's just like globally thinking, obviously the market share is rather small, yeah, compared to
Sure.
the Google. It would be really nice if Google provided that data, but I guess on their endless effort to hide everything and put it in the black box, they're taking just more and more from us. Okay, that's pretty cool. But if you think about it, what kind of offering do you have for your free account? How is that limited? How is that crippled compared to the paid account?
So the free account, we only give 3 days worth of data, so you can only see the last 3 days.
Okay.
But that's usually okay, right? Because if you're actively, you can log in every couple of days and still see. And then we block everything on the right hand side, so you'll still get to see the company name and location.
Yeah.
Basically what you see on the left hand side here. But that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you do get 14 days trials to start.
Yeah.
So you see all the data unlocked, unlimited, everything.
Okay. And obviously, in order to support the channel, we'll have a link that you can use in order to have an extended trial, right?
Yeah, I believe you get an extra 7 days. You get 21 days worth of data. And honestly, within that time period, you're probably going to get a lot of warm leads that you can export. It's yours to keep. So we don't lock you into it. You can download it into a spreadsheet. So actually, let me show you here. You can click export leads. So you could create a feed and export it, and choose a time period that you want to download. You could do all leads and just download everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 2 different reports and 2 different file formats, Excel or CSV, and you can email it to yourself and anyone else.
No, that's really good. And obviously during the trial period, or maybe even with the free version, I'm not sure, can you still connect it to the other like CRM system, Zappier?
I didn't want to correct you earlier, but no, unfortunately, we do limit that too.
Okay. Then yes.
I think you were thinking about the pass. I think we used to offer that, but as a business, we just
obviously no. I think it's good. It's good. I think the trial, I think, is a good start, because if you don't like it, you will still be able to use the free version. If you like the trial, I think what is it like $50 something a month? 57.
It starts as low as here. We're so transparent that it's on our website.
Yeah, I think that's good, because many times when it says contact us to find out the pricing, you're like, I hate that, because I think okay, it costs $4 million.
Yeah. So we don't even lock you into an annual contract, but if you do pay for an annual subscription, you get a 20% discount. So that's an incentive. But otherwise, you want to try it month to month, it starts as low as $69 a month.
If you pay monthly.
Yeah, and then with the annual subscription, you get 20%, so it comes out to $55 a month.
Yeah. And basically what it means by unique leads. So if I have, for example, like millions of visitors, it will just show me 100 of those leads and says like, hey, you have to pay to see extra.
Such a good question. I know we get that a lot. Now, we count leads as the companies we identify. So every line item you see here on the left hand side is lead. And if you hide a company, it doesn't count towards your quota.
Okay.
So you don't pay for leads that you hide.
Okay, that's pretty good. I don't think that's mentioned on the pricing page, or is it?
Oh yeah, you can remove your own leads.
Maybe I missed it, but that's, I think, pretty good point. So for example, if you have old leads, irrelevant leads, and so forth, it can help you, be within the quota. Obviously, I'm very cheap. That's why my questions are so unfortunate.
You know what? Everyone has the same questions. It's not about being cheap. It's about being a bit better, mindful of your spending, right? And you want to get the most out of every product. So it's a valid question.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, if you think about it, somebody who is just, wants to get additional leads and B2B, they install, lead feeder, hopefully
Yeah.
using the link below in order to
Yeah.
support the channel. But once they get started, what would be your suggestion? What should you do during the trial period in order to kind of get the most out of it? What would you
Uh,
do?
yeah. So take advantage of our integrations. If you have a CRM system, connect it, do the integration. All of them take only between 2 minutes to set up to maybe like 15 minutes for like Salesforce to set up. Very simple. So that you want to see if you have any existing deals that are visiting your site, then you can sync when you integrate, you also push these visit details into your CRM if you want to. So that's more relevant information for your sales team to work off of. So test the integration out, test the Mailchimp integration you have it, play with the custom feeds,
Yeah.
you want to, like I said, provide warm leads to your sales teams, but also evaluate your current marketing campaigns. Maybe there's some that could be, improved upon, or maybe there's some sources you didn't even think of pouring money into. And you're like, wow, we're getting a lot of relevant traffic from them. So let's double down and put more money into these sources. Evaluate your keyword plans. If you strategy, if you see certain keywords that are attracting more relevant people or not, you can adjust your campaigns accordingly.
All right,
Yeah.
that's very
And
good.
you invite as many people as you want to the platform too. Invite all your salespeople, your marketing teams, because we don't even charge extra for seats. You get
Okay.
unlimited users for that price.
That's
So you
actually
want to get yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you. I just
No, no,
some
no.
companies, they charge you base fee, seat fee, and then coffee fee. Whatever. There is everything. And it's really good that you're pretty transparent with the pricing. The most that I got out of it when I started was just connected to the CRM and populate already existing leads and contacts, so the information flows already to my existing data, so I can see from my
Yeah.
potential customers or existing customers or existing leads who is actually visiting the website.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that yeah, that's very good. That's very good. And I see that you use Pipedrive yourself, right?
Yeah. And so I was gonna show you here when it is synced up, you'll see if there's any activities and who the owner is and the deals and stuff like that. And if oh, I have an activity that's overdue. Obviously, this is for demo purposes, but you can see
Of course, it's demo. Of
open,
course.
close,
Yeah.
deals, all deals, and yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I really like that you can export it, into Excel spreadsheet or something so that you can later process it in
Yeah.
in some way. But what's the benefit? You mentioned the Mailchimp. What's the benefit besides being able to track them, in terms of additional, data point? But what's the benefit of connected? I understand obviously Zapier for automation. I understand, Mailchimp from the identification. But what about Mailchimp? Other functionality that you can leverage.
Yeah. So with the Mailchimp integration, normally you only see like anonymous people. So you see person number
Yeah.
one, person number two, but now you'll see, okay, for this visit, it was this exact person.
Uh-huh.
And then you'll see like, so normally people from your Mailchimp might be reading your blogs. They click on your newsletter, they click on a link.
Yeah.
But then you want to know when they move on, like from the top of your funnel, right? Top of the funnel, they're
Yeah.
just consuming content. But as soon as they move down in the funnel, you want to know that, and you want to notify your sales team, like, okay, we finally moved them down. Like now, reach out to them and close the deal. And it's always helpful if you know exactly who it is.
Yeah,
So
obviously.
that's what it is. And then of course, like you can measure like how well your campaigns are doing as well. See which emails are activating certain people, and you also can see like how your blog page is doing. So if in your newsletters you're always linking to your blog page, and if they're not navigating the rest of your site, maybe there's things to be improved on your blog pages, because the point is you want to keep people in your site, and there has to be a story or a journey that you want to take through your site,
Yeah.
right? So all these little insights you can gain.
Do you push data also to Mailchimp? Obviously, you push data to CRM. You enrich the
Uh,
data there. But what about Mailchimp or?
it's as of that, it's one way. So we
Okay,
pull
so you
into
just
lead
pull the
feeder.
data from Mailchimp, but you don't push. You don't enrich their data yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't say anything. My product team will yell, but like I just, as of now, that's what it is.
Yeah,
And
obviously,
if we
but
do more, it's what we do more.
yeah, of
I
course,
can't
and
make any promises. Yeah.
yeah, of course, and obviously, you are improving the product. depending on the needs of the customers. So obviously there will be, at least if nothing else, more integration, possibilities, more functionality, and so forth.
Absolutely.
So that's obviously very good. All right, well, I think that's a really, really good overview. I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed the background music. It was probably one of the best I ever heard. So that was amazing. Obviously, your backdrop is just superb. Looks like almost like a green screen, but you actually, you
I
know,
love it.
yeah.
It's better than my messy office. Just letting everyone know. We were in my office, and Artem was like, "Carol, do you have a better background?"
No, no, no.
And
I,
I'm
I
like,
was
"Yes,
I
yes."
was more friendly than that. I was like, can we open the window at least, or let
That's
some
true.
light in, yeah. And then you're like, well, I have a really nice backyard that people keep complimenting me about, and I'm like, let's go there maybe, yeah. So no, Carol, it was really a pleasure. You're always a pleasure to talk to. Thank you very much for your time, and remember, guys, link below in the description. Have an extended period that you can try, lead feeder, and see if it works for you. And if it does, well, thank you very much for using the link. And Carol, thank you very much for your time,
Thank you,
for your
Artem. It was
positive
very fun.
attitude. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.